Hi class, how are you today? That's good to hear. Let's get going. The learning target for today is to identify and use different algebraic properties. I'm going to give you some algebraic properties today. Some you may have heard of. At least one I definitely know you've heard of. And you're going to be able to not only use them, but identify them when they're being used. So 3, you can do both those things. You can identify them and use them. 2, you can use them, but you're not sure which property you're using when you do it. 1, you can state what the property is, but you don't know how to use it. And 0, you don't know the properties. Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the commutative property. There's 2 of them. There's one for addition and one for multiplication. For addition, it says, for any 2 numbers, a and b, if you have a plus b, then that's the same thing as saying b plus a. So it's essentially saying that with addition, order doesn't matter. So you can say a plus b, or you can say b plus a. Using numbers, as an example, we can say 2 plus 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 2. As you can see, they both equal 5. For the visual people, if you have, say, 3 boxes and you combine them with 2 boxes, you're going to get a total of 5 boxes. And like we said, order doesn't matter, so you can also say that you can have 2 boxes and then 3 boxes. Again, you still get 5 boxes total. It works the same way in multiplication as well. If you have, say, some number a times some number b, that's the same thing as saying b times a. Commutative property also works in multiplication. Order doesn't matter. So 2 times 3 is the same thing as saying 3 times 2. Now for the visual people, say we have a box, and we have a width of 2 and a length of 3. Well, let's flip the box a little bit and say it still has a width of 2 and a length of 3. Same box, we just tilted it a bit. So whether we say 2 times 3 or 3 times 2, there's the same area in each of these boxes, which we know as 2 times 3 is 6. Now let's deal with the associative property. Again, there's 2 of them, one for addition, one for multiplication. And what this says is if you have 3 numbers, a, b, and c, and we say a plus b plus c, but there's parentheses around b plus c, then that is equal to parentheses around a plus b, and then plus c. So order of operations, you know, usually says you do what's in the parentheses first. So we should do b plus c, and then add a, but over here, we should do a plus b first, and then add c. And no matter which way you do it, it'll come out the same because we're adding all the way through. A quick example of that, say we have 2 plus 3 plus 4, and see if that's equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4. So on the left side, we have to do 3 plus 4 first, because it's in parentheses, so 3 plus 4 is 7, and the 2 plus drops down. 2 plus 7 is 9. On the right side, we have 2 plus 3 first, and that gives us 5, plus 4, which is 9. So they are indeed equal. So if all you have is straight multiplication, order doesn't matter, the parentheses don't matter which they're around. You can do it any way you want. And that's the same thing for the associative property of multiplication. So that says if you have A times B times C, or A times B times C, then those are equal. And again, with a quick example, 2 times 3 times 4, and 2 times 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2. 2 times 12 is 24. And on the right side, 2 times 3 is 6, times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Again, it works. So with just addition or just multiplication, it works that you can change the order and you can change the parentheses all you want. Alright, now let's go to the identity property. Again, there's two of them, one for addition, one for multiplication. And what this is trying to do is, for identity, it means what can you do to a number to get that same number back. So in addition, if you have some number A, and you want to do something to it, if you want to add a number to it, but your answer will come back as A, the thing you have to do is add 0. So any number plus 0 will be A. So any number plus 0 will give you that number back. So it works with any number whatsoever, add 0 and you get that number back. With multiplication, it's very similar. If you have any number A and you want to get that number back, with multiplication, you have to multiply by 1. And any number times 1 is itself. So A times 1 is A. Pretty easy? Alright, I'll move on. Now we're at the inverse property. And once again, one for addition, one for multiplication. So what inverse is it's dealing with the opposite. So what is the opposite of each? So in addition, if we have some number A, the opposite of that would be negative A. So in addition, the opposite of a number is to change the sign. Make it negative, or if it's already negative, make it positive. And the inverse property says that if you have those two numbers and you add them together, you will always get 0. Quick example of that, if you have 5 and you add negative 5, you will get 0. Make sense? Okay. Inverse property of multiplication is a little bit more tricky, and this is the one that people struggle with the most, but probably is one of the more important ones because we use it so much, especially in solving equations. This says if you have some number A, the opposite of that, or the inverse, is 1 over A. It's reciprocal. And if you would have a fraction, it's flipping it. So if you had 2 over 3, it would become 3 over 2. Anyway, so with multiplication, if we multiply those two numbers, that will always give us 1. And quick example of that, 5 times 1/5 will give us 1. And if you remember from a lot of the stuff we've been doing, if you look, 5 and 5 are diagonally across from each other, so they can cancel out, and you would just be left with 1. Make sense? Awesome. Just 2 more to go. Our next one is the multiplication property of 0. And all this says is, no matter what number you have, we'll call it A, if you multiply that number by 0, you will always get 0. I think you knew that one already, but if not, there you go. And finally, the distributive property, which we just talked about last class. So with the distributive property, that says if you have some number A and it's being multiplied by, in parentheses, B plus C, you must distribute that A to all the terms. So we get A times B plus A times C. And we talked about that last class, so I won't go too much into it right now. So these are properties. They're not all the properties, but they're all the ones that we're going to talk about for now. Alright, now time for the sponge. So I want you to fill in this table here by identifying which property was used. So we've got an equation here, and then it's changed in 3 different ways. So it's changed to this, then from there it's changed to this, then from there it's changed to this. And the steps that were used, I want to know what property was used. So whenever you're given something to start off with, it's always given. That's just the thing we're given. Then to change it, what property was used? Which of the properties that we just went over? Then after that, what property was used there? Then after that, what property was used there? So, that's it for the video. Once again, please make sure to take notes on the entire video, as well as attempting the sponge. Take a picture of it, submit it all to eBackpack, and have a good night.